Who killed them? Zhang Muryang's eyes were full of deep anger. The others were the same. Everyone stared at the corpses with eyes mixed with rage. Dao Shigo inspected the bodies on behalf of the Black Cloud Corps. They were all killed by the same person. Are you sure? Look at the wound on Joksen's neck and the cut on Seo Pyo's shoulder. It's the same type. Judging by the shape and size, the weapon was likely a dagger or short knife. The deeper cut on the neck suggests it. All common wounds appear to have been caused by a short-bladed weapon. At his explanation, Zhang Muryang's expression darkened further. He turned to Yang Wuzheng. What about Oh Yukpyo? Didn't you say his wound was also caused by a dagger? That's right. Bring Oh Yukpyo here. We'll compare the wounds. Understood. A short while later, warriors carried Oh Yukpyo out on a stretcher. Why did you call me, Captain? He looked confused. Let me inspect your wound. Zhang Muryang tore open his clothing and examined the cut. What is it? It's the same. Same what? Explain. The wounds you have are exactly the same as theirs. Who? Only then did Oh Yukpyo notice the cold corpses of Zhou Joksen and Seo Pyo. The wounds matched his own. Zhang Muryang's gaze turned to Hyo Ranju. Where is he? He's still at the guest house. Did he really kill them? Can't you see the wounds? He definitely did. She didn't doubt it. She had seen Pyo use a dagger. Ranju, yes. Take your subordinates and bring him here. Injure him if you must, but bring him back alive. I'll interrogate him myself. Understood. Whatever his reason, Pyo caused serious harm. The 100-flower room had a gloomy atmosphere. They had been pushed back in the fight, and Zhanghua, one of Imei's great disciples, was seriously injured. She suffered a deep internal injury and could not move. It was her worst injury since losing her eye 7 years ago. While losing her eye then was unfortunate, her life had not been in danger. This time was different. If her condition worsened, she could die. Suddenly, Yang Xiaoran spoke. Everyone, calm down. She was the highest-ranking disciple present besides Zhanghua. Until now, she avoided the front line out of respect, but the sudden circumstances forced her forward. Check the defenses. Qing Cheng might attack again. They suffered heavy damage too. Why would they? They might strike while we're weak. Anyone who can stand must stay alert. We only need to hold on until support arrives from the main sect. You're requesting reinforcement. With senior sister Zhonghua defeated, we must report to Master and request support. She had an ominous feeling since leaving Mount Aimei. After observing events from a distance, something felt unnatural. She couldn't speak then. Zhanghua had restrained her, but now things were different. With Zhanghua immobilized, she had the right to lead. Someone is intentionally provoking conflict between Imei and Qingcheng. Zhanghua breathed heavily. Although she improved thanks to the physician, her condition was still dangerous. To block Changsan's final attack, she overforced her qi, causing internal bleeding everywhere. She would need at least a year at the main sect to recover partially. Chang, San, I'll kill you. Even in this state, she burned with hatred. If she could move even slightly, she would rush to the Golden Gates and slaughter Qingcheng disciples. Tears flowed from her one remaining eye. Her spirit remained fierce, but her body could not follow. If I stay like this, I'll lose my position to Sul Ran. For the first time today, she realized the true source of her frustration. Get out! Terrified, the physician fled. He didn't leave by choice, he simply couldn't handle her presence. When the door shut, she closed her eye. Now she could rest comfortably. She didn't want anyone to see her weakness. She would rather die than show such shame. Then, the door opened quietly. Zhonghua's eye snapped open, full of anger. I told you I would definitely cut you! She turned her head. Her eye trembled. A stranger entered. Not the physician. She had never seen him before, yet he felt strangely familiar. His eyes had a faint red tint, his appearance almost inhuman, but oddly alluring. The moment she saw him, her hairs stood on end. A dreadful sensation crawled down her spine like a knife. He closed the door. Who are you? The man said nothing. His reddish eyes stabbed into her like blades. I asked, who? You don't seem to remember. You know me. Of course, I haven't forgotten your face for a single day in 7 years. His quiet words carried chilling weight. 7 years. Don't you remember? Should I blind your remaining eye to help you recall? Lightning shot through her. You're that assassin. It's been a long time. Pyo smiled. The moment she saw that white smile in the dim light, pain flared in the eye beneath her eye patch. The eye stolen from her 7 years ago. I was so sure you were dead. Mu Jinjin definitely threw you into the pit of snakes, Zhanghua muttered unintelligibly. The situation before her could not be understood with common sense. Her trembling eyes reflected her confusion. What are you going to do to me? I told you, I'm going to kill you. I killed Gongxion. I also killed the young master of the Thunder Clan. Lies. Zhonghua harshly denied his words. But Pyo continued. It's true. Gongxion stopped breathing as she slept. At least I let her die without pain. Killing the young master of the Thunder Clan wasn't difficult either. Like you said, I'm a dirty assassin. I enjoy hiding in the dark. Aren't you ashamed? I told you, I'm an assassin. I was raised that way. Stop your nonsense. You and the Abbess of Nine Calamities hired the Blood Shadow group to assassinate Wu Gunseng, so they kidnapped me with other children and raised us as assassins. We're actually like your children, because without you, we never would have become assassins. What do you want from me? I don't want anything, I just want to tell you something. What do you think will happen to the MA sect now? Chongyum will die tonight. Angry Chingchong warriors will rush here without hesitation. No matter what excuses you make, they won't listen. A prestigious sect's great disciple dying. No excuse can cover that. Chongyo will be assassinated tonight using your sect's signature technique. There was a copy of Pyosol Chunanjong on the clothes of an MA disciple who died in the underground cave, so I learned it. Zhonghwa's eyes widened, splitting at the corners. Blood mixed with tears ran down her face. You devilish bastard, you will never rest in death. Demon. At that moment, Zhonghua finally understood his plan and hurled curses. But Pyowol continued calmly. The disciples of Qingcheng and Ma who came to Chengdu will go to war. When that happens, even the monsters hiding on the mountain won't sit still. The Abbess of Nine Calamities, Mu Zhengjin, and the others. Blood and foam bubbled from Zhonghua's mouth. Her rage reached its peak, her heart convulsed. Regardless, Pyowol continued, I'll force them down the mountain, and I'll erase them from this world, as if they never existed. Those words were the final blow. A blood vessel in her brain burst from overwhelming anger and stress. Her body could not withstand the psychological pressure. Zhonghua died with the most agonized expression in the world. But Pyowol still spoke. Terrible, isn't it? That someone like me exists. Terrible for me, too. His gaze turned to her corpse. Pyowol asked the dead Zhonghua, so why did you raise someone like me? The door burst open and a group entered the room, the Black Cloud Corps, led by Hio Ranju and Dao Shigo. Dao Shigo looked around and said, looks like he already left. The room was empty. He didn't come here last night. Did he move out because he knew we were coming? Zhang Meryong asked. I don't think so. It looks like he simply paid for the room and never used it. Dao Shigo turned to Hio Ranju. What will we do? Wait here for him to return, or withdraw? There's no point in waiting. I don't think he's coming back. Hio Ranju's face darkened. I might be obsessed with looks, but when I see him again, I swear I'll tear him apart. We have to catch him immediately. He's skilled, cruel, and heartless. If we let him run free, the consequences will never end. By the way, any idea where he went? Perhaps a dark thought touched Dao Shigo, but he quickly shook it off. No, he probably didn't go there. The Golden Gates provided an annex where Chong Yob could recover, an isolated place where he could recuperate without worry. As soon as he returned, he retired to the annex and began to meditate. He had subdued Zhonghua, but in the process had sustained significant internal injuries. Without timely treatment, those wounds could fester into lifelong damage. Fortunately, the Qingcheng sect had Ungong Yosang, a long-developed method with proven efficacy. After applying it, he had passed the critical threshold within 3 hours. Chong Yob exhaled deeply and opened his eyes. The door opened quietly, and someone stepped in. Chong Yob frowned deeply. Who are you? He demanded. Pyo Wol, the man said. Chong Yob had never heard the name, but he kept his composure. Why are you skulking like a stray cat at midnight? No one who sneaks in at night has good intentions. Same applies to me. Stupid question. The one who comes at night is never benign. Chong Yob's face hardened. One question. Did you kill the young master of the Thunder Clan? Yes. So that was you. Why? To lure the Qingcheng sect's attention. Pyowol answered calmly. Chong Yob suspected he was stalling. Who are you really? You claim to bear grudges against both Qingcheng and Ime. I don't believe anyone hates both. Tell me your true name. I'm an assassin. Because of Ime, I was raised as an assassin and became a public enemy of Qingcheng. You mean what happened 7 years ago? So you remember, you're not that stupid. So you're the assassin who killed Wu Gunseng. Pyowol nodded, a cold smile on his lips. Chong Yod's expression grew darker as memories of that day returned. You made a mistake showing yourself tonight. If you'd stayed hidden, you might have lived a few more days. Chong Yob's sword sliced through the dark. A fierce sword energy flew toward Pyowol. Pyowol sidestepped and surged forward. He did not draw his phantom dagger or the soul-reaping thread. Instead, he used an MA technique, Pyosel Chononjong, to fight Chong Yob. What's happening? Isn't that brother Chong Yob's annex? Alarmed disciples of Qingcheng and Golden Gate rushed out. Is that Pyosol Chiononjang? Then is that person from the Ime sect? Some Qingqing soldiers recognized the technique. It was famous. Chong Yol gathered his remaining inner strength and poured it into his sword, hoping to cut through the incoming force. He expected reinforcements to arrive. He struck with all his might, but his sword passed through empty air. Chong Yob's eyes widened. Something impossible had happened. A swordsman with decades of training missed his strike. He felt a telltale thread wrap around his leg. A nearly invisible key thread, the soul-reaping thread, had disturbed his balance. That subtle interference made him fail to deflect the attack. Bang! Traces of Pyosale Kiononjong struck his chest. Senior brother, oh no. Qingcheng and Golden Gate disciples rushed in, but by the time they reached him, Chong Yob had stopped breathing. He was dead. His death shattered them. Pursue them. The Ma sect killed senior brother Chung Yob. We must avenge him. To them, Chung Yob had fallen to Ma's sword technique. They believed Ma had sent a powerful warrior to strike. Without restraint, they surged out. Their destination, the 100-Flower Room, where Ma's disciples sheltered. Drive those filthy Ma disciples out of the city. We will avenge senior brother Chung Yob. Chengdu's night streets rang with their cries. Calm had barely returned. The city's darkness was stained with blood once more. That dawn, Ma disciples in the 100-Flower Room were attacked by warriors from the Qingcheng sect and the Golden Gates. The attackers, unhinged by the death of Chung Yob, struck the 100-Flower Room. Ma disciples inside, grief-stricken over Zhongwa's death, were already on edge. Anger exploded on both sides. They clashed again and inflicted terrible damage on one another. Yongseil Ran tried desperately to control the Ma disciples, but it was useless. The Ma believed Zhongwa's death was the Qingcheng sect's doing. The Qingcheng warriors believed Chung Yob had been killed by a highly skilled fighter hired by Ma. All of it was the result of Piowul's schemes and misunderstandings, but no one knew that. Both sides only needed an outlet for their rage. As the fight escalated, nearby affiliated sects joined in and the damage spiraled out of control. Yongseil Ran stared at the collapsed 100-Flower Room in disbelief. Her body was stained with blood. The only reason the Ime had survived as much as they had was because she had shown her true prowess. Her hands and clothes were drenched in the Qingcheng warrior's blood. It felt like a nightmare, clashing with Qingcheng in daylight. She couldn't believe it had all happened in 2 days. Yongseil Ran had always believed she could handle any adversity. She had confidence in her own strength and a bold personality. But faced with this sudden, terrible disaster, she felt emptied, her mind blank, as if her soul had left her. A soft voice pulled her back. She turned and saw Zhang Muryang leading the Black Cloud Corps. The Black Cloud's mercenaries had intervened at the last minute. Their arrival had prevented the Ime here from being completely annihilated. In Jinghu, there are no coincidences. Why do you ask? We met someone on the way to Chengdu. He came with us for a time, but his movements were odd. Tell me. Yongseil Ran's eyes lit up. Something clicked when Zhang spoke. His name is Piowul. Someone had come to mind. Someone she believed to be dead. Then the thought flipped. What if he were alive? A chill ran through her. As the pieces fell into place, her sixth sense told her she was right. Piowul walked alone through a deserted street. He left Chengdu and headed for a shop in the Fire Dragon Room. Piowul pushed the door. It had been locked, but with a slight pressure, it swung open. Inside, 4 men were mercilessly beating another man. Don't meddle in the Fire Dragon Room's affairs, or you'll have a bad time, Buntaju warned, emphasizing the shop's name. The name usually made people back down, but it meant nothing to Piowul. Tong Sochu, barely conscious, raised his head and met Piowul's gaze. Piowul spoke to him, "Decide." Tong's eyes trembled. He understood. He had done nothing that day. He had neither wielded a hammer nor tended the furnace. Yet the apprentices had beaten him, encouraged by Buntaju. The only fault he had was his surname, Tong, which had earned him hatred and repeated torment. When Tong Sochu met Piowul's eyes, he asked quietly, "Can you kill them?" "All of them," Piowul asked. "All of them, and what will you give me? I'll do anything you want." Tong's eyes were empty hollow, like Piowul's used to be. Piowul smiled at the resemblance. "Okay, I'll show you how I used the phantom dagger you made." A phantom dagger shot from his waist. "Get him! Kill that maniac!" The warriors charged. Piowul flicked his hand. Phantom daggers flew, one after another. Each dagger stole a life. In an instant, more than a dozen warriors collapsed. The last man, heart-pierced, fell to his knees. In the blink of an eye, the workshop was soaked in blood. Aside from Piowul and Tong Sochu, no one remained alive. Yet Piowul's face showed no remorse. The Fire Dragon Room had taken part in the hunt for him 7 years ago. With that knowledge, there was no hesitation in his strikes. Tong Sochu laughed. Amazing. Truly amazing. He stared at the thread and daggers, heart pounding at the thought of the weapon he had crafted reaching its fullest potential. "So," Tang Sochu said, "you need my help, don't you? A great deal." "What can I do?" His face brightened with madness. The Abbess of 9 Calamities slammed her fist down, unable to contain her anger. Splinters flew across the room, but Ime's masters did not even flinch. They were as furious as she was. A letter trembled in the Abbess's grip, delivered that morning by carrier pigeon. Inside were details about Zhongwa's death and the chaos in Chengdu. The news exploded in her heart. "That child, Zhongwa," she muttered. "How dare they kill her?" Zhongwa was a senior disciple of the Ime sect, her first disciple. Though Zhongwa had disappointed her at times, she remained precious, losing her cut deeper than any other death. "Let's summarize," she said coldly. "The assassin who killed Wu Gunseng 7 years ago survived. He provoked conflict between Ame and Qingcheng. He uses both sects' martial arts. Qingcheng arts might have leaked from the Blood Shadow group, but how did he learn ours? And Piosiol Chio Nunjong no less." The abbess glanced at her. "Speak. Could Gongun's copy have been leaked?" the boy who died in the underground cave. This disciple heard he was permitted to learn Shozale Chionanjang and was given a copy. You mean he took the copy into the cave? It seems so. Madness. Completely insane. The abbess crushed the armrest of her chair into powder. Silence fell. But how could someone learn our art without the sect's guidance? Is that even possible? It shouldn't be, Colson admitted, shoulders shrinking. But there's no other explanation. The abbess bit her lip. She hated admitting such a possibility. It wounded Emmy's pride. How dare a lowly assassin cause such chaos? I will capture him, tear him apart, and kill him myself. A vicious light glinted in the abbess's eyes. That day, she descended Mount Emmy with 200 elite disciples at her back. Senior brother, Mu Youngjin and Muwa Jin called out, but Mu Jongjin's gaze remained fixed ahead. Following that gaze, they saw a mutilated corpse. Ye Gunho, the leader of the Thunder Clan. Only one man in the Qingcheng sect could have killed someone of his caliber in a single strike, Mu Jongjin. Why did you do this? Why kill sect leader Tai? Mu Jongjin's eyes swirled with chaotic chi. Chong Yob died because of him. It wasn't sect leader Tai who killed Chong Yob. But he was the cause. Senior brother, I will not let anyone involved in this matter live. Cruelty laced his voice. His killing intent had reached its peak. Ever since returning from the underground cave 7 years ago, Mu Jongjin's inner demon had only grown stronger. No one understood why, and no one in the Qingcheng sect could restrain him. Only the ancient elder Go Yupjin possessed the skill to subdue him, but he had long been hidden away, alive or dead, no one knew. Zhang Yob died from Pyosol Kionanjang, an Ime martial art. 7 years ago, we lost Wu Gunsang because of them. Now, Chong Yob, our future has been shattered, and you want patience. Zhengjin, I endured because you asked me to. I stayed in the shadows, and this is the result. Do not stop me, senior brother. This time, I will claim justice. The Ime will fear my name. While we hesitate, those wicked Ime will prepare. We can no longer endure their provocations. Mu Jongjin kicked off the ground and shot into the sky. 7 men followed, the Qingcheng 7 Swords warriors personally raised by him. Together they surged down the mountain. No one dared stop them. This is disastrous, Mu Wajin muttered. If senior brother meets junior brother Wu, it will be worse. It's been over 7 years since he secluded himself. Wu Jinpyong, father of Wu Gunsing, was a prodigy who had pushed the Qingcheng sect's prestige upward. After his son's death, he severed ties with the world. Mu Jongjin had begged him many times to return, but was refused. If those two join forces, Sichuan will drown in blood. We must stop them! Wu Wajin clenched his jaw. We want Ime on their knees in apology, not annihilation. Then who should go? I will go down the mountain myself. Take the warriors of the Law Enforcement Hall. The Law Enforcement Hall maintained discipline within the sect. Its force rivaled that of the Qingcheng 7 Swords. Its leader, Mu Youngjin, was second only to Mu Jongjin in skill. I will not let you down, senior brother. The fate of the Qingcheng sect rests on you. You must discover why Mu Jongjin's heart demon is growing. If left unchecked, it could endanger all of Sichuan. Mu Wajin bowed deeply. Mu Youngjin watched him leave, worry clouding his eyes. How did things reach this point? His sigh dissipated in the wind. Back in Chengdu, Pielwol returned to the city. The atmosphere remained thick with bloodshed. Streets were deserted, most shops were closed. Finding an open guest house took time. The innkeeper charged twice the usual price. Even poor meals cost a premium. Guests had no choice. Few places were open. Merchants complained quietly. This is insane. 5 coins a night. We can't sleep outside. What's with the Ame and Qingcheng conflict? Why drag us in? Someone might hear. Birds hear daytime words. Rats hear nighttime words. Their voices dropped, but Pielwol heard everything clearly. He couldn't blame them. In truth, all of this happened because of him. Had he remained quiet, countless deaths would not have occurred, yet he felt no regret. To him, the concept of good and evil no longer existed. Anything threatening his survival was evil. 14 years in darkness had twisted his mind beyond repair. He knew he wasn't normal, nor did he care. The innkeeper dropped off an unappealing tray and left. Pielwol ignored the food and pulled a booklet from his pocket. Chengdu Directory of Martial Artists. He had taken it from Oh San Kyung, the Chengdu branch manager of the Hao clan. He had been too busy managing Qingcheng and Ime to read it until now. A faint smile crossed his lips. The booklet detailed not only Chengdu's warriors, but notable martial artists throughout Sichuan. Even information on the Black Cloud Corps appeared. The Black Cloud Corps are recruiting cavalry. They seem affiliated with foreign tribes and aim to establish a foothold in Sichuan. Captain Zheng Meryang is quick-witted and ambitious. They walk a tightrope between factions. Exercise caution. Beware of Dao Shigo and Hulsing. Pielwol silently memorized every line. In Zhonghu, information was more valuable than treasure. The Hao clan's intelligence was worth thousands of gold taels. Though titled Chengdu's Directory, its contents stretched far beyond the city, covering all of Sichuan. The once gorgeous 100-flower room was a ruin. More than half had been destroyed in the recent battle with the Qingcheng sect. In that conflict, Zhonghua, the great disciple of Eme, and Jiumha Ryun, the sect leader of the Hundred Flower Room, both lost their lives. It was Yongse Ol Ran who rallied the shaken disciples of both sects. Had she arrived even a little later, the Hundred Flower Room might have collapsed completely in Chengdu. Sol Ran reorganized the broken defensive lines, restored security, and immediately contacted allied clans, including military officials, to request support. Thanks to her swift actions, the Hundred Flower Room avoided the worst. Watching her, Zhang Meryang was quietly amazed. What a remarkable woman. Strange that someone so capable remained unknown. I've heard she's the greatest talent Ame has produced in a century, Dao Shigo replied. But she's quiet, and Zhanghua kept her suppressed. She's lived in the shadows. Zhang Meryang chuckled. With Zhanghua dead, she'll finally show her full potential. You can already see it. She puts the right people in the right places. If she becomes sect leader, Ime will rise again. Whoever secures her loyalty may become the true master of Ame. Feeling greedy, Captain? Zhang Meryang only smiled meaningfully. Dao Shigo laughed with him. If you win her over, your goal will be far easier to achieve. That's why I'm concerned. The walls around her heart look thick. The more vibrant the rose, the sharper its hidden thorns. If you want it, prepare to bleed. At that moment, a powerful aura descended from outside. Both men stiffened. This presence, it's strong. The energy sent goosebumps down their spines. An oppressive force befitting a sect lord. Doors burst open as hundreds of disciples rushed out from the Hundred Flower Room. At the center walked an old woman reminiscent of a crow, leaning on a staff. A strange, chilling aura radiated from her with each step. Zhang Meryang and Dao Shigo immediately recognized her. The disciples greet the sect leader. We welcome your blessed arrival. Regardless of affiliation, all knelt on one knee. The Hundred Flower Room fell into complete silence. Even seasoned Ame disciples struggled to breathe normally. The Abbess of Nine Calamities was not only the absolute ruler of Emi, her influence shook all of Sichuan. And everyone knew how cruel she was. Catching her eye meant disaster. Finally, Yongseol Ran and Wu Seonha stood before her. The disciple greets master. Wu Shonha of the Hundred Flower Room warmly welcomes the sect leader. The abbess merely stared with unreadable, chilling eyes. Shuanha trembled under that gaze, feeling as though she stood naked before her, completely exposed. After a long silence, the abbess spoke. Let us go inside. Without waiting, she walked into the great hall as though it were her own home. Seol Ran and Seonha followed, and senior disciples entered behind them. Zhang Meryang and Dao Shigo hesitated until a cold voice echoed in their minds. You too as well. They exchanged looks. I'd rather not, but we have no choice. Go ahead. Always pushing poor Dao Shigo first. I plan to live a little longer. Live long enough to lead the Black Cloud Mercenary Corps properly. With hollow laughs, they followed. Inside, the abbess sat in the most magnificent seat. The hall was full, yet no one dared breathe loudly. The abbess crossed her legs and looked down at young Seolran. Explain. From the beginning, though she already knew the events from Seolran's letter, she demanded a public report. One assassin toyed with us this thoroughly. His name was Pyeolwol. Her eyes suddenly flashed. She had noticed the flicker of emotion on Siona's face, too late for the girl to hide it. Seolha. The abbess rose and approached, staff tapping like thunder. Look into my eyes. Seonha tried to avert her gaze, but the abbess seized her chin, forcing eye contact. I dislike lies. What is your relationship with Pyeolwol? Why did his name shake you? Seonha broke. Though famed for beauty, her heart could not withstand this pressure. Tears streamed down her face. She confessed everything. Her first meeting with Pyeolwol, their relationship, and how she requested the assassination of Nam Hosan. I'm sorry. I never thought it would escalate like this. No one comforted her. Those who moved now would share her fate. Because of that one man, a great disciple, her aunt Zhanghua and her master Jumha Ryun had died. Even if she hadn't killed them herself, she could not escape responsibility. Kneeling, she pleaded, give me a small group. I'll lure him in. He trusts me. He'll fall into my trap. Were you listening at all? The abbess scoffed. Do you think he'll fall for that? He is a snake. If he could be captured so easily, he would never have tormented Aimei and Qingcheng 7 years ago. His relationship with Seonha had been a tool. He did not feel for women. The abbess stroked Seonha's head almost gently. Ugly thing. Who told you to kill the Thunder Clan's heir? He threatened me. He said if I refused to marry him, he'd side with Qingcheng. I acted for Imei and the Hundred Flower Room. You should have done what you always do, dazzle men. That was your role. It wasn't difficult, just as you've always done. Please forgive me. Sensing something horrible, Seonha knelt lower. The abbess's eyes were colder than ice. Yong Seol Ran stepped forward. Master, she... Blood erupted like a fountain. With a casual palm strike, the abbess crushed Seonha's skull. Her brain burst like soft tofu. Seonha stared blankly. She collapsed before finishing her final words. Thus ended the life of Seonha, once praised as Chengdu's most beautiful woman. The abbess wiped blood from her palm and muttered, You should never have even thought about it. The entire hall froze. No one dared breathe. In the silence that filled the Daejeon, Yang Solran's shout rang like thunder. An explosive aura burst forth like a storm, her clothes billowed, and her black hair rose as if lifted by an unseen wind. The entire hall trembled as though about to collapse. Yang Xiaoran's eyes burned with fury. It was the first time the Amei disciples had ever seen her enraged. A faint smile appeared on the abbess's lips. There was no need to do that. She didn't do it on purpose. Yang Xiaoran's rage erupted fully. Seolha's death forced her to reveal the strength she had worked so hard to conceal. She could not tolerate how the abbess treated people like disposable tools. Even as Seolran openly defied her, the abbess continued smiling. This was the reaction she had always wanted from her. Yong Seol-ran had lived her life suppressing herself, partly because Zhonghua always held her down, but more importantly, because she did not want to be used by the abbess. Seol-ran, you know what happens when you make exceptions. It never ends. You won't understand now, but when you stand at the top, you'll understand why I did this today. Stop rebelling and return to your seat. Master, sit! Her voice rasped like a crow's cry. Yong Seol-ran bit her lip. She now understood clearly. No matter what she said, the old woman before her would never listen. Her master judged people with merciless standards. First, remove this wretch's body. Seolha's mangled corpse still lay on the floor. 100 Flower Room disciples tearfully lifted her body. With both sect leader and young mistress gone, they were lost and confused. The abbess said, in the end, the 100 Flower Room shares the same root as the Imei sect. I will take charge of you. No one dared oppose her command. Zhang Muryang's eyes narrowed, as expected of a nine-tailed fox. She had seized complete control of the room in an instant. Even if Seolha's guilt hadn't been revealed, the abbess would have found an excuse to kill her. That was the only way to fully subjugate the 100 Flower Room. It looked like an emotional outburst, but it was calculated. This will be more difficult than I thought. The abbess was no simple opponent. Together with Qing Cheng's Mu Zhongjin, she was one of Sichuan's strongest martial figures. Then the abbess spoke. Captain Zhang, yes. You will move. What? I want the Black Cloud Corps to hunt Pyowol. You want us alone to catch that assassin. Because of that one man, both the 100 Flower Room and my sect suffered great losses. Our relationship with Qing Cheng is beyond repair. Her eyes gleamed with cold intent. Seolha's body was dumped on the outskirts of the city, where the nameless dead of Chengdu were thrown. The 100 Flower Room now belonged wholly to Amei. The abbess had branded Seolha a traitor. Under such circumstances, the disciples could not even build her a grave. A pack of wild dogs smelled the corpse first. Drooling, they approached. Just as the lead dog opened its mouth, a stone flew from the darkness and crushed its skull. Startled, the dogs backed away. A figure emerged, dressed in elegant robes, Pyowol. He lifted her gently. He didn't pity her. They had simply used each other. But he wouldn't leave her to be eaten by beasts. He carried her to a sunny spot, dug a grave with his own hands, and buried her. He did not make a mound. He couldn't risk the Imei sect finding it. Then he sat by the grave and gazed toward Chengdu. The city was like a bomb on the verge of exploding. His manipulation had pushed Amei and Qingcheng into conflict, dragging all of Sichuan into chaos. Many had already died, and many more would die. But he did not regret it. He could not go back. He would see it through, even if it meant his death. Pyowo lay beside the grave, staring up at the sky. He murmured, I won't say I'm sorry. We used each other, but I'll avenge you. She'll suffer more than you did. He stayed there until the sun set behind Seosan Mountain. Then he rose and walked into the darkness. He headed for Chengdu. Early in the morning, someone knocked relentlessly on the tightly closed door. The one knocking was an old swordsman with a thick beard. Behind him stood dozens of young warriors. Even after some time, the door did not open. The younger warriors grew restless, but the old swordsman continued knocking without a trace of irritation. Eventually, the door opened, perhaps worn down by the swordsman's persistence. How have you been, Go Chongwan? You look like you've aged quite a bit. How can anyone stop the passage of time? But did you come here for something important? Go Chongwan asked carefully. Is senior brother Wu inside? He should be, but please tell him I'm here. I know it will disturb him, but the Qingcheng sect is in crisis. All right, wait here. I will. The old swordsman looked up at the faded signboard above the entrance with a bitter expression. The 4 characters were barely legible. The signboard hadn't been maintained for years. The walls were crumbling, branches overgrown and spilling over. Everything screamed neglect. They waited a long time. Still, Go Chongwan did not return. Anyone else would complain, but no one here dared. They understood Wu Jinpyong's pain too well. Finally, the door opened. An elderly man with long, graying hair stepped out. The moment they saw him, many eyes filled with tears. Senior brother, come here, brother. How have you been? I'm so sorry we haven't visited. As you can see, I'm alive. Brother Mu Young, you came as well. Mu Wajin explained everything that had happened recently. Wu Jinpyong closed his eyes and listened silently. When the explanation ended, he finally spoke. It must be the work of a third party. The young master of the Thunder Clan was assassinated using the 72 sword waves. Wu Jinpyong abruptly trembled as if struck by lightning. The assassin who killed Gunsang, he used that technique. But didn't senior brother Mu Jongjin kill that assassin? He only threw the assassin into a snake pit. He didn't confirm the kill. Do you believe that assassin is still alive? Is it impossible? Wu Jinpyong's eyes sharpened, chilling Mu Wajin and Mu Young. Mu Wajin asked quietly, if it really is him, what will you do? What else? We must avenge our children. It's our duty to ease the suffering of those who died before their parents. For the first time in 7 years, Wu Jinpyong's eyes regained their fire. Hello, handsome Oraboni. What are you doing here? What do you mean? I came to see my handsome Oraboni. Are you here just to look at my face? That's one reason. But there's another. She leaned in. Do you know how hard it was to find you? Who would expect you to be watching the 100-flower room right under our noses? Clever. Very clever. You were looking for me. Our captain received a commission. If I ask what kind of commission, will you answer? Of course, you should know. Then tell me, a request to kill you. She smiled brightly as she said it. I'll say it one last time. Join the Black Cloud Corps. If you do, I'll cancel the request. Namu Amitabha Buddha, please accept Ranju's proposal. The words were polite, but the pressure radiating from him was anything but. A crushing force seeped from his entire body. Then another voice cut in. Damn it, ease up, will you? Are we here to kill him? Why are you glaring like that? Long time no see. You look even more handsome than before. Since Ranju's so desperate to find you, why not just join us? You said you got a request from the MA sect, Pyo-wol replied. Can you withdraw so easily? What can't we do? We'll lie and say we killed you properly, then fix things later. By the time MA finds out, we'll already be firmly established in Sichuan. Is it fine to betray a client like that? For mercenaries, trust should be the most important thing. Who in this day and age keeps such old-fashioned notions? The only thing that matters is money. Its value never changes. If you join, I'll be promoted to vice captain in no time. We need someone like you. I still refuse. So quickly. Why? For mercenaries, money matters most. For assassins, trust matters most. I don't get it. You don't have to. Just don't interfere with my request. Are you saying someone hired you to do this? Hyo Ranju asked. Who's the client? Pyo-wol didn't answer. At that moment, Li Min's dying voice echoed in his memory. I want them to feel what I felt. This misery, being crushed by a force you can't resist. Though they were simply her last words, Pyo-wol had accepted them as a request, despite receiving no payment. It's a woman. What? There's only one reason a man risks his life doing the impossible because of a woman. Her intuition was razor sharp. Even without details, she pinpointed the truth. Dao Shigo snorted. A woman's request. You're more sentimental than you look. How stupid. Hyo Ranju glared fiercely at Pyo-wol. What kind of girl is she? Jealousy colored her voice. Normally, Dao Shigo would tease her, but not now. Experience taught him never to provoke Hyo Ranju when she sounded like that. Tell me, what kind of bitch is she? A massive wave of force blasted toward Pyo-wol, but instead of meeting it head-on, Pyo-wol leapt upward. Bang! He landed on the tiles several meters above, scanning the surroundings. There he is. Black Cloud warriors on the streets shouted, pointing up at him. The entire area was surrounded. Jang Muryang looked up at him, grinning. You finally crawled out of your fox den. Jang Muryang had mobilized the entire Black Cloud Corps to scour the city. After 3 days, they'd found him ironically right beside the 100-flower room, where MA's forces were stationed. Pyo-wol landed lightly on the rooftop. Hyo Ranju, Hyosung, and Dao Shigo surrounded him, but Pyo-wol kept his gaze on Jang Muryang. So, Abbas 9 Calamities ordered this. Heh, she made an offer I couldn't refuse. So you mobilized everyone just to catch me. You're unpredictable. We had to. Take it as an honor. This is the first time the entire Black Cloud Corps has moved to kill one person. You'll regret that. You shouldn't have meddled in my war. Pyo-wol's voice was calm but eerily cold. Jang Muryang felt his spine tingle, an unidentifiable chill crawling up his neck. What is this? A feeling he had never experienced before made him freeze. Catch him, he barked instinctively. It was like chasing a ghost. Black lightning. That was the name Pyo-wol had given the new technique he developed in the underground cave. Bang! The trio shattered another roof, but Pyo-wol was already gone. The explosion of movement drew the attention of other martial artists nearby. What the? Who are these people? Why are so many fighting one guy? Curious warriors moved in. Jang Muryang shouted to his vice captain, Wu Zhang, keep the others away. On it. He didn't want attention. He wanted this done fast. But Pyo-wol wanted the opposite. As he slipped past another attack, he struck a nearby warrior. Before the man realized it, a fatal strike crushed his chest. He hit a wall and died instantly. Pyo-wol didn't stop. 2 more died in moments. Chaos exploded instantly. Bystanders attacked Black Cloud mercenaries, thinking they were Pyo-wol's allies. Black Cloud mercenaries cut them down trying to reach Pyo-wol. He's dragging us into conflict with everyone. Zhang Muryang finally understood, but too late. Warriors poured in blindly, joining the brawl. Blood splattered across the streets, and at the center of it all stood Pyo. For the past 3 days, Pyo had been silently observing the warriors entering Chengdu. As a result, he discovered they fell into 3 categories. The first category consisted of the Qingqing sect, the Golden Gates, and the other factions aligned with them. The Fire Dragon Room was a prime example. The second category consisted of those who supported the Ime sect. Several factions, including the Hundred Flower Room and the Qingming Room, stood with Ma, though their collective strength could not compare to the forces backing Qingcheng. The third category consisted of warriors who belonged to neither faction. Some came in small groups, others wandered alone. They prowled the edges of the conflict like wild dogs, hoping to seize an opportunity to make a name for themselves. This third group belonged to no one, and they were the most numerous. In some ways, they resembled the Black Cloud Corps. The difference was that while the Black Cloud Corps were nomadic mercenaries drifting from battlefield to battlefield, these warriors all had homes in Sichuan. It was this third group that Piowal targeted. By attacking them, he dragged them directly into the conflict. Unlike Qingcheng or Ma, the third group had no grasp of the true situation in Chengdu. 1 or 2 warriors weren't a problem, but hundreds were a different story, and the numbers were still climbing. More and more warriors arrived after hearing the commotion, only to be swept up in the clash between the Black Cloud Corps and the other fighters. Many of these newcomers belonged to factions supporting either Ime or Qingcheng. Their involvement only intensified the growing madness of the battlefield. This was absurd. The Black Cloud Corps were being completely manipulated by a single assassin. Their coordinated formation, normally their greatest strength, had collapsed because Pyobol continually dragged stray warriors into their path. Their most powerful state was when they moved as a unified whole. But now, buried under countless unrelated fighters, that was impossible. Worse yet, their 200-man cavalry, the core of their power, hadn't even entered the city. They still waited outside, hoping their comrades would drive Pyobol toward them. Bastard. Dao Shigo gathered energy to his fingertips and unleashed it toward Pyobol. It was the Spirit Fire Dance, Dao Shigo's esoteric killing art. Hyoranju had already moved to intercept Pyobol's expected escape route. Suddenly, something sliced through the air and appeared before Dao Shigo. Startled, Dao Shigo instinctively leaned back. He didn't even think to block. The attack was too unexpected. A single dagger had flown at him, moving along a long, serpentine trajectory like a living creature. Dao Shigo's scream tore across the battlefield. His severed left arm hit the ground. Hyoranju screamed and rushed toward him. But another dagger flashed in front of her, attacking with dazzling speed. A phantom dagger sliced across her side. Cloth and flesh split open as blood spilled out. Hyoranju swallowed her scream and staggered back, but she kept her eyes locked onto Pyowol. But Pyowol vanished again. The next moment, he reappeared in front of Dao Shigo. Dao Shigo, now missing an arm and barely conscious, couldn't sense him. No, Hyoranju shouted desperately. Dao Shigo looked up. Pyowol stood before him, phantom dagger in hand. Stop! Zhang Moryang's shout split the battlefield. Cutting down warriors in his path, he lunged toward Pyowol, black spear in hand. He unleashed the destruction of the Black Dragon, the secret art of his clan. The spear ripped through the air toward Pyowol, but Pyowol didn't even glance at it. He simply drove the phantom dagger deep between Dao Shigo's ribs. Dao Shigo's face twisted in agony. The dagger had pierced his lungs. He opened his mouth to speak, but Pyowol covered it with his hand and switched their positions in a single smooth motion. Dao Shigo, his strength gone, couldn't resist. Zhang Moryang's spear struck. A roar and a scream rang out simultaneously, but the one struck was Dao Shigo. His back was torn open, bones exposed, fatally wounded by his own comrade. Zhang Moryang and Hyoranju rushed toward him. Pyowol glanced back at them briefly, his cold eyes as sharp as blades, devoid of a single emotion. It pierced their hearts like ice. Hyoranju's eyes reddened, bloodshot, trembling with grief. Though they bickered constantly, he was the one she cared for most among the 350 members of the Black Cloud Corps. He understood her better than anyone. Seeing him fall shattered something inside her. She tried to attack Pyowol, consumed by rage, but he had already vanished into the chaos. Damn it, Zhang Moryang clenched his teeth. It was as if he had killed Dao Shigo. Hyoranju screamed at him, "Go, chase him, tear him apart, kill him." At her command, Zhang Moryang hurled himself in Pyowol's direction. Hyoranju held Dao Shigo tightly, tears falling uncontrollably. "Daoshi, don't die." Dao Shigo weakly grasped her hand. "Idiot! Who said I'm going to die? Why?" "You're saying something. Unlucky." He forced a laugh. "Sect leader, something terrible has happened. The city, it's in chaos." "Explain." The Black Cloud Corps moved to capture the assassin, but their actions provoked the warriors gathered in Chengdu. The assassin clashed with the Black Cloud Corps and the nearby warriors. It was unbelievable that one assassin had incited such a massive conflict. The disciple continued. The fighting spread, and now even the forces supporting our Imai sect are being dragged into it. You mean the Qingming Room and the other warriors? Not only them, the factions supporting the Qingcheng sect have joined as well. The entire city is submerged in blood. The Qingming Room was an ally. If she ignored their plea, no sect would follow Ime again. We're dancing to the assassin's tune. Guwasata ground her teeth. There was no choice now, nowhere to escape. She gripped her staff tightly. Before the Qingcheng sect's disciples join the fray, we must calm the situation. All disciples arm yourselves and follow me. And so, Guhasata and the Ma sect were swept into the bloodstorm as well. Zhang Muryang had always worn a relaxed smile, but rationality vanished when Dao Shigo was injured. Dao Shigo was more than a subordinate. He was a mentor from Zhang Muryang's youth, the very reason he had become leader. Zhang Muryang held him in utmost respect. His fury reached the heavens when Dao Shigo was gravely wounded by Zhang Muryang's own attack. That fury targeted Piowol. Piowol was destined to die anyway, but now Zhang Muryang vowed to kill him in a manner even more terrible. Whether by chance or misfortune, Piowol was running straight toward where the Black Cloud Corps cavalry waited. Due to the nature of cavalry whose strength is greatest on horseback, they could not enter Chengdu and were stationed outside. Hooves thundered across the earth. 200 horses charged in unison. Bastard, there's nowhere left to run. Give up. Zhang Muryang roared, swinging his spear. A fierce spear aura shot toward Piowol. Piowol's body moved instantly. He dodged the long-range strike without even looking back, as if he had eyes behind him. But his crisis was far from over. The horsemen drew their spears and aimed forward. Long spears were the most suitable weapons for cavalry, just as Zhang Muryang wielded a spear himself. Dust rose behind the charging unit. Even in the night, they had only one objective. 200 horses charged to kill Piowol. No matter how skilled he was, a single man should have been helpless before 200 mounted warriors. Naturally, Zhang Muryang expected Piowol to flee, but instead, Piowol rushed directly toward the cavalry. Zhang Muryang cursed, but stayed alert. Piowol had always surpassed expectations. This time was no different. Just before the spear struck him, Piowol vanished. He reappeared above the head of the leading cavalryman, having shortened the distance with black lightning. Ghost daggers flew. The elite cavalry instinctively sensed danger and swung their spears defensively, but they did not realize. The ghost daggers were not ordinary blades. Combined with the soul-reaping thread, the daggers' trajectories shifted freely according to Piowol's finger movements. Piowol darted with black lightning. He appeared atop a riderless horse, then threw another dagger. Screams followed. He stepped atop galloping horses, moving fluidly from one to another, killing riders with his ghost daggers. The moment the horsemen thrust their spears, Piowol had already vanished. The darkness was his greatest ally. This insane sight, Guwasata stared ahead blankly. The city was burning. Not metaphorically, massive fires blazed throughout Chengdu. Looters not only stole, but set buildings alight. Chengdu descended deeper into chaos. Inside the city, warriors slaughtered each other. Many already lay dead, many more groaned with wounds. Blood soaked the streets. It was hell itself. All of this had erupted in mere hours. Fo Sanhai, leader of the Fire Dragon Room, was stunned by the Ame sect's intervention. Everyone, beware, the Ame sect is here. Meanwhile, Qijuhan, leader of the Qingming Room, shouted with renewed vigor, the Ime sect has come to support us. Fight on. Qingming Room's morale soared, while Fire Dragon Room's spirit collapsed under the pressure. Within moments, over a dozen Fire Dragon Room warriors lay sprawled in blood. Seeing this, Fo Sanhai rushed to stop her. You witch, stop this at once. You've gone too far, sect leader Fo, and you dare call me that. Guhasata's ferocious gaze froze him. Fo Sanhai's spirit faltered under her overwhelming aura. Yet he could not show weakness. As leader of his sect, he had to stand firm. If he faltered, Fire Dragon Room's morale would collapse entirely. Withdraw your troops. This is a dispute between us and the Qingming Room. The Ma sect has no right to intervene. Say something believable. Everyone knows Qingming Room is affiliated with Ime, yet you spout nonsense. Sect leader Fo is even more foolish than he looks. Who says such? Silence. Guashata cut him off and attacked. Fo Sanhai barely blocked the strike, but it was only the beginning. The Golden Light Staff technique unleashed its full power, one of Emi's mightiest arts. Fo Sanhai staggered, unable to endure even 10 seconds. His face turned pale, blood dripped from his lips. Realization struck him. He had known that Ime outclassed the Fire Dragon Room, but not by this much. He wasn't a match at all. He finally understood why so many sects feared the great Orthodox sects. Bang. Each collision felt like being struck with an iron pillar. Fo Sanhai eventually vomited blood. Unable to withstand the shock, Guwasata's staff descended toward his bowed head. One clean strike would shatter his skull. Fo Sanhai's expression darkened. Stop! A furious voice rang out. A figure rushed in, intercepting the staff with a sword. The impact sent Guhasata skidding back dozens of steps. Her eyes sharpened with wariness. The strength behind that strike was astonishing enough to crush a boulder, yet the man who blocked her blow stood firm. Very few in Sichuan possessed such power. It was Mu Jungjin, one of those rare masters now standing protectively before Fosenhei. No matter how powerful Guasata was as the sect leader of Ma, she could not afford to underestimate Mu Jungjin's strength. It's been a while, Mu Jungjin. To see you like this again, Guasata, it truly warms my heart. Is that so? Because I feel nothing but disgust. I've waited 7 years to see your face again. How could I not be happy? A chilling edge crept into Mu Jungjin's voice. His eyes brimmed with naked hostility. Mu Jungjin proposed to Jin, the sect leader, that they mobilize all disciples and wipe out Ame. Jin rejected the idea immediately. Both sects were pillars of the martial world, and attacking Ame would place an unbearable burden on Qingcheng. Mu Jungjin was deeply disappointed by Jin's indecision. After that, he did nothing but wait and train. Everything he did was for revenge against Guasata. But Guasata was as cunning as an old fox. She never left her abode on Mount Ame. Anyone else might have given up. Mu Jungjin did not. He waited patiently for 7 years, and at last, he came face to face with the one he had long sought. Guasata felt the same unease. She frowned at the unrestrained power radiating from Mu Jungjin. Something was different, unnatural. She could not believe such dark, sinister qi was being emitted by someone who had mastered Qingcheng martial arts, a sect rooted in Taoist teachings. You've gained enlightenment, Guasata said slowly. I sense an unfamiliar power within you. Enlightenment. Mu Jungjin replied calmly. I merely learned a new method. Impossible. I believed I understood Qingcheng's martial arts. But to think you were hiding something that reeks of such murky energy. Her voice was filled with sarcasm. But Mu Jungjin remained unfazed. Do not judge Qingcheng by your narrow standards. Our sky is far broader than Amy's. Whether your sect is truly so remarkable remains to be seen. You'll find out soon enough just how great and terrifying a sect you dared to provoke. Amazing words for someone who was toyed with by a mere assassin. An assassin. Mu Jungjin's eyebrows twitched. What do you mean? The man you killed in the underground cave is still alive. That's a lie. I killed him myself. Did you confirm the body? As expected, you didn't, and now look at the mess we're in. Guasata scoffed, but Mu Jungjin remained calm. So he lives, yes. He's the same man who killed the ThunderClan's young master and the same one who incited our conflict, leading my disciple Jianghua to her death. If that's true, Mu Jungjin said grimly, then we've all been played. Exactly. So let's settle our grudges after capturing him. I refuse. Guasata's eyes widened. You'd ignore the man who killed your disciple. If he lives, I'll kill him myself. Then why? My true enemy stands before me, Mu Jungjin said coldly. After waiting 7 years, how could I let this opportunity slip? Mu Jungjin strode forward and shouted, the Qingcheng 7 swords will assist the Fire Dragon Room in crushing Ame. 7 swordsmen appeared at once, each radiating razor-sharp killing intent. They were the Qingcheng 7 swords, personally trained by Mu Jungjin. They plunged into battle. Steel rang through the battlefield. Though only 7, their presence tilted the tides of war. Guasata's expression twisted, her crow-like visage becoming monstrous. So, this is your answer, Mu Jungjin. And this is mine, he replied, old crow of Mount Ame. Unforgivable, furious, Guasata charged. Her staff tore through the air, forming dozens of afterimages, the golden light sword technique. Even before it struck, crushing pressure descended, but with a single slash Mu Jungjin shattered the force. Pay for your sins with death. Their clash unleashed a storm of qi. Ragged breaths echoed across the field. The Black Cloud Corps was in ruins. Of the 200 horsemen, a third lay dead or critically wounded. The rest clung on, battered and exhausted. You've turned the city into hell. Zhang Moryang shouted. Everyone lives like this, Piowol replied calmly. What? Isn't Zhonghu built on blood? Qingcheng, M.A., Black Cloud. Why am I the crazy one? He was genuinely curious. Countless had died to build their glory. All he had done was expose it. You're insane! Zhang Moryang attacked. His instincts screamed, kill him now, or disaster beyond imagining will follow. Piowol poured more focus into his ghost daggers. Then, the soul-reaping thread revealed itself. Once invisible, it now gleamed brightly, its form unmistakable even from afar. The luminous threads weaving through the darkness were almost artistic. He's not going all out. If Piowol intended a direct confrontation, revealing the soul-reaping thread made no sense. Its power increased when infused with qi, but so did its visibility, allowing opponents to defend. Piowol would know that better than anyone. So why reveal it? What are you planning? Zhang Moryang demanded. Piowol didn't answer. Instead, he poured in even more qi. The thread glowed brighter. Then, a group surged out of Chengdu. Do you think you can escape me, Guasata? Huh, who's running, you arrogant fool? The ones exchanging furious shouts were Mu Jungjin and Guasata, locked in deadly pursuit. Behind them, disciples of Qingcheng and Amei followed, still embroiled in combat. Their clash reduced streets to rubble. The battle between two pinnacle masters briefly silenced Chengdu itself. Both were among the strongest in Sichuan, Mu Zhengjin, the sword pillar of Qingcheng. Guwasata, eccentric yet terrifying. Each understood the other's martial arts too well. That was why neither could win quickly and why the destruction only worsened. Both realized the cost. To control Sichuan, Chengdu's allegiance was vital. Reducing it to ruins would turn the people against them. The first thing they noticed was the gleaming key slicing through darkness. The soul-reaping thread. It moved like a lighthouse beam across a black sea, its eerie sound echoing deeper with each pass. The sound seized attention, and perhaps the threads themselves carried a strange allure. "Who is that?" Yongseil Ran was the first to recognize him. "It's him," she said quietly. "Pyo that assassin, yes." It reached Mu Zhengjin, assassin. His gaze snapped toward the darkness. And then rage exploded. 7 years he had never forgotten that face. The assassin he had thrown into a pit of snakes was standing there, expressionless, cutting down the black cloud core. "You're really alive!" His roar split the night sky. Weaker warriors clutched their ears as their eardrums ruptured beneath his unleashed ki. That was Mu Zhengjin's terrifying internal energy. Though Guhasata was the instigator, it was Pyo who had killed Wu Gunsong. Mu Zhengjin's fury shifted instantly. Mu Zhengjin shot toward Pyo. Only then did Guhasata truly notice him. "Catch him!" At her command, MA disciples rushed forward. Pyo smiled. In front, Zhang Muryang and the Black Cloud Corps. Behind, Qing Cheng and Yimei leaders with their disciples, completely surrounded. Yet Pyo smiled wider. "Now," he said softly, "everyone is gathered." This was why he stayed near Chengdu. Why he fought such a bitter battle with the Black Cloud Corps. Zhang Muryang realized it too late. "You planned this, you insane bastard." Fear crept into his soul. That kind of resolve, the willingness to do what no sane person would, was terrifying. Pyo fled as Mu Zhengjin and Guwasata charged. The cavalry tried to stop him, but Black Lightning carried him beyond reach. "Hells, chase him." Zhang Muryang ordered pursuit. He had to seize Pyo before Ma did. A chase erupted. Black Cloud Corps, Qingcheng, Ma, and countless warriors who didn't even know why they ran. Under the night sky, history repeated itself. 7 years ago, an inescapable net closed in from all sides. Now, they ran in blind pursuit. Pyo led them. Some sensed the trap, but the madness was too strong. "How far will you run?" Mu Zhengjin roared. Sword Ki tore through the air, but Pyo dodged every strike by inches. Mu Zhengjin's rage deepened. Even Guwasata felt chills watching him. Half an hour passed. Only then did Yongseil Ran realize, "He's leading us. We must stop. Quiet," Guwasata snapped. Her pride was wounded. She wanted Pyo dead now. It was too late. Screams erupted. Hidden weapons. Warriors collapsed mid-run. Only then did they see ruins, collapsed walls, broken pillars, Tang family ruins, faces drained of color. The Tang family long destroyed, yet still feared. Mu Zhengjin roared in fury. "How dare you bring us to such cursed ground? Show yourself!" Pyo appeared, as if he had always been there. Pale skin, red-tinged eyes. Silence followed. Then he spoke. "This is my inescapable net." The security network that covered both heaven and earth so tight that escape was impossible no matter how desperately one struggled, was called the inescapable net. 7 years ago, Pyo and the other assassins of the Blood Shadow group were trapped within it and mercilessly hunted by the warriors of Sichuan. They ran endlessly, struggling to break free from the encirclement, but in the end, were slaughtered. Back then, the warriors who took part treated the hunt like a trivial game. The children who had survived 7 years in darkness, desperately clinging to life, died without ever seeing the light of the world. Many of the warriors who had chased Pyo to the Tang family ruins had participated in that same inescapable net. That was no coincidence. People rarely changed. Those who once enjoyed that pursuit had gathered again in Chengdu, drawn by the same dark pleasure. Though 7 years had passed, Pyo remembered every face. Among the men standing in Tangjiatuo, he could clearly identify those who had once hunted him. He remembered them all. They, however, did not remember him. Pyo decided it didn't matter. From this day forward, they would never forget. He would make them relive the memories of 7 years ago. "What kind of nonsense are you spouting?" A hot-tempered man charged forward. His name was Ju Kyung, a well-known warrior in the Xicheng region of southern Sichuan. But his fame extended no further than that. In the broader martial world of Sichuan, he was little more than a nameless figure at the bottom. That reality had always frustrated him. "This is my chance." While others hesitated, he stepped forward boldly. He drew his cherished sword and rushed at Pyo. If he killed the assassin now, his name would spread across all of Sichuan. He had to strike before anyone else could claim the glory. He advanced with everything he had. He hadn't even taken 10 steps. A terrifying impact split the air. Hidden weapons. With a sharp metallic clang, the first hidden weapon was deflected and dropped to the ground. 3 more projectiles followed. He barely blocked the first. The second pierced his shoulder. The third buried itself deep into his abdomen. Fear spread across the faces of the onlookers. It wasn't merely because Oh Kyung had died, it was where he died. Tang Jiatuo. In Sichuan, that name carried weight. It had once been the home of the Tang family masters of poison and hidden weapons feared throughout Jianghu. Even after their fall, people believed deadly mechanisms and lethal toxins still slumbered there. No one willingly entered Tang Jiatuo. Seeing a warrior struck down by hidden weapons in that place reignited old terror. Many believed Pyeolwol had revived the Tang family. They were half right. The original facilities and devices had long been destroyed. But Pyeolwol possessed something else, a man of the Tang bloodline, Tang Sochu. During Pyeolwol's stay in Chengdu, Tang Sochu had used all his knowledge of Tang Jiatuo to reset traps, hidden weapons, and simple mechanisms. It was less than a tenth of the Tang family's former might. But it was more than enough. In darkness, hidden weapons became infinitely more terrifying. Sharp sounds ripped through the night. The warriors scattered in panic. There was no coordination, only chaos. They were from countless clans with no unified command. The more chaotically they moved, the greater the damage. Only King Chung and Ame disciples retained formation. Everyone else fled blindly. As a result, casualties skyrocketed. You devil. Kuwasada trembled as screams echoed from all directions. Thousands were dying, all because of a single man. Many tried to reach Pyeolwol but fell to hidden weapons before they could. Time passed. The damage multiplied. They had never imagined such a nightmare awaited them in Tangjiatuo. Save me. I want to get out of here. Warriors screamed as they fled. Fear peaked. The dread of the Tang family combined with its signature weapons shattered their sanity. Pyeolwol did not pursue those who fled. They were not his target. His eyes were fixed on Guwasada. I'll tear your jaw apart and kill you. She led her disciples forward. At that moment, Pyeolwol released a long whistle. It sounded like a serpent's breath spreading across the ruins. Ma disciples fell one by one. Snakes. The bushes, they're full of snakes. Dozens collapsed before they realized what was happening. It wasn't limited to Ma. Remaining warriors were bitten and fell screaming. He uses demonic arts to control snakes, someone shouted. Guhasata crushed approaching serpents with her staff. Fear covered the faces of her disciples. They had no idea how many snakes lurked in Tangjiatuo, nor how Pyeolwol controlled them. This too was part of the inescapable net. Guhasata wanted to strike Pyeolwol, but saving her disciples came first. Pyeolwol watched with a faint smile. At last, I can kill you. His gaze shifted. A swordsman emerged from the bushes, Muzhongjin. The snakes instinctively avoided him, repelled by the terrifying aura he emitted. Muzhongjin drew his sword. The air trembled with his presence. Nearby snakes burst apart under the pressure of his chi. Because of you, Muzhongjin said coldly, the wings of the Qingqingsheng sect were broken. You'll pay with your life. What payment? Pyeolwol replied calmly. I've already paid everything, and 7 years of darkness. The moment he was cast into the snake pit, he had already died once. No price remained, only debt. Pyeolwol raised his arms. The ghost daggers at the end of the soul-reaping thread trembled. He vanished. To ordinary warriors, it was imperceptible. But Muzhongjin was different. That trick again. He struck. For the first time, black lightning was stopped. The ghost dagger blocked the sword just before it cleaved Pyeolwol in two. Yet Pyeolwol's expression didn't change. Neither could read the other. It's useless, Muzhongjin shouted, unleashing the red cloud sword. The air twisted violently. But Pyeolwol slipped through. At the same time, the soul-reaping thread lashed out. Impressive. Steel clashed endlessly. The ghost dagger writhed like a living serpent, both blade and shield. Admiration flickered in Muzhongjin's eyes. For the first time in decades, he felt fear. Then, he struck again. Qing Cheng's 13 swords. The sword looked plain. But inside, it held catastrophic power. Like a meteor, it fell. Pyeolwol felt chills. Yet he didn't retreat. Black lightning condensed at a single point. Muzhongjin slashed. He was certain. Then, his sword stopped. A single finger. Blood dripped from Pyeolwol's lips. Still, his face did not change. One candle is enough to light the darkness. One firm heart is enough to walk through it. Mysterious ghost break. Muzhongjin's sword shattered, cracking like a spider's web before exploding. The fragments of the shattered sword scattered in all directions. Muzhongjin let out a stunned groan. Several shards were embedded in his forearm. The physical pain meant nothing to him. What truly sickened him was the fact that his cherished sword had been destroyed by a single finger. It was the blade he had inherited from his master, the blade he was meant to pass down to his successor, a famed sword said to be so perfectly forged that it would require no repairs even after generations. That such a weapon had been reduced to scrap by Pyeolwol's finger dealt him a devastating psychological blow, and Pyeolwol did not miss that opening. As Muzhongjin staggered, Pyeolwol flicked his wrist and released a ghost dagger. Two of them, traveling along divergent trajectories. The daggers struck like vipers, hunting for gaps. Mu Zhongjin abandoned all dignity and immediately circulated his chi, rolling along the ground like a donkey fleeing the whip. He barely escaped the barrage. When he rose again, frustration twisted his face. He hurriedly gathered his ki, preparing for another exchange. A burning pain erupted in his back. Mouth agape, Mu Zhongjin turned and saw an old woman with deeply wrinkled features standing behind him. Guwa Sata. It was Guwa Sata of the Ime sect. She had thrust a dagger into his back. While dealing with the snakes and hidden weapons, she had been carefully watching the duel. The moment Mu Zhongjin's attention wavered and a weakness appeared, she struck without hesitation. A smile crept across her lips as she looked down at him. Well done, Mu Zhongjin, I'll take over from here. This cowardly? So what? She interrupted with a sneer. Whether it's an ambush or a betrayal, Zhang Hu remembers only the victors. Mu Zhongjin's face twisted in fury. And the leader of Ime dares to speak like that. You'll drag Ime's honor into the mud. I don't care about honor anymore, Guwasata replied coldly. In the end, NA will rule Sichuan. When that happens, who would dare criticize me? History honors only the winners. Her resolve had been cast the day she plotted Wu Gunsang's assassination 7 years ago. All she desired was Ime's revival, even if it meant destroying Qingcheng entirely, and Mu Zhongjin was Qingcheng's greatest pillar. This was an opportunity she could not ignore. Bang! Her staff smashed into Mu Zhongjin's chest. He was sent flying a dozen steps before crashing to the ground, a gaping crater torn through his torso. Master, damn it! The Qingcheng Seven Swords tried to rush forward, only to be intercepted by Ame warriors. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.